Military ships have been in local waters since the 1840s. In the early days, it was the result of tension between the United States and Great Britain. Later, the British Navy built hospitals in Victoria in support of their Pacific Fleet. The Royal Navy and the new Canadian Navy built up the site during 3 wars and 3 possible conflicts until the present day. The Esquimalt base has grown to encompass in excess of 1,500 buildings on approximately 12,000 acres of land. Ask the average Victorian about the impact of the military on the area, and his first thoughts will be the traffic and the infamous Colwood Crawl. But according to Chamber of Commerce CEO Bruce Carter, the military has a far greater impact than you might first imagine.
The Navy is so important to our local economy, and I think sometimes because they hide behind a gate out at the end of Esquimalt Road, that we don't seem to notice what they do. But you know, when you talk about Greater Victoria, the economic impact, direct spend is over $600 million a year, or roughly $600 million. $390 million of that is salaries alone. And those are good salaries. Those are household sustaining jobs. Those are generally family salaries of people that are in our economy, and the economic impact of that is far beyond that direct spend of $600 million.
To confirm Carter's assessment, we checked with the base commander of CFB Esquimalt, Captain Baines.
We're a big player in the community here. We don't consider ourselves as separate from the community. We feel like we're part of the community. And as a result, we're involved in a lot of organizations here in Victoria, including things like the United Way of Greater Victoria. We have our folks who are involved with things like the Scout movement. We have a big part to play in a lot of the community organizations that are in the area.
The impact of the military on the United Way of Greater Victoria is very much like the impact of the military on all of Greater Victoria. They're such an important and integral part of this community, and such a vibrant part of our community. I think when you think of Victoria, part of what you think when you drive in, of course, is this is home of the Pacific Fleet.
The military does not only give from their wallets, they give of their time. Military personnel volunteer an average of 400,000 hours per year in the Greater Victoria area. They take an effective role in all areas of sports and recreation. The Boy Scout organization is especially dependent on the leadership that comes from the military community.
I'm a submariner working with HMCS Victoria and posted to HMCS Chicoutimi. So yeah, submarines is the way to go for me. It involved with scouting when I was a youth, ventures and scouts, and so when I had an opportunity out here to volunteer, I did. I started with ventures, and I wanted to get my wife involved, so I said, I'll make you a deal. You join Beavers, and then I'll join with you. So then I did both. And I never look back. Love Beavers. The kids are great. Beavers! 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 This group is sponsored by the base, so there are lots of serving members in various groups all around Victoria, lots of them. This group specifically, we've got 10 leaders, half of them are military members, and the other half are either spouses, siblings, or parents to serving members. So we all have a strong connection to the military here. We have more leaders than most groups normally do. So if we have some go away, we still have lots more to rely on. The military community loves to volunteer for things like this, so we're pretty blessed.
The military impact on civilian employment in Victoria is also significant.
With about 6,000 people working on the base, that means that we're almost the third largest employer in the area. We have a lot of infrastructure ongoing as we update a lot of our buildings, a lot of our capability, and over the next 10 years you can expect to see probably upwards of $1.5 billion worth of investment in order for us to do the job we do here. Some of the new projects that are ongoing right now is we're continuing to update our fleet maintenance facility, which allows us to do our work on all the ships. We're in the middle of construction of a new base fire hall and operations center, which we're expected to be completed in the summer of 2012. We've just broken ground on a new hangar facility for our helicopter squadron out at Patricia Bay. And a lot of these projects are bringing a lot of investment and jobs to the area. Working for defense, we have approximately 2,000 civilians that work directly in one capacity or another for the base, but there's also a lot of spin-offs with all the work that gets done on our ships. There's other industries that take advantage of that. For instance, we're modernizing our frigates, and that's about a $350 million program that gets invested into the local community here and all the jobs that are associated with that. So there's a lot of spin-off activity as well.
When you look at the things that the Navy spends money on, $26 million a year in fuel. That's $26 million into our economy, and there's people that support that. The one that amazes me is tailoring for uniforms and uniform maintenance. $280,000 a year in tailoring and uniforms. Well, you think you've got 6,000 employees, 4,000 military, 2,000 civilians, 4,000 of which are wearing uniforms every day long. It's a lot of maintenance to keep up that clothing, let alone, of course, what they spend on, shorts and T-shirts and other things that they don't wear when they're at work. So, tremendous economic impact. IT products for the military. The local spend is about $2.1 million annually. They spend about $400,000 a year on exercise equipment. So all of that stuff is into our local economy. They're buying that from local businesses. That has an effect. We see employment from that. Oftentimes people will talk about a ratio to direct spend of economic impact of somewhere between 2 and 5 times. Even conservatively at 2 times the direct spend for economic impact of $1.2 billion a year. That's the same size as our tourism industry.
So in 3,
Military members also give generously to charities, and they have a lot of fun doing it. Here is Helicopter Squadron CO Peter Allen.
We're at 443 Squadron at Patricia Bay, British Columbia. We're here today for the United Way Chopper Challenge. It's an event we do in cooperation with the Victoria Airport Authority. We've got a helicopter here on the ramp and 10 teams signed up to try to pull it in the best time. It's a good fundraiser for the United Way.
The campaign from the military raises about $750,000, but keep in mind about 3/4 of the people that work there are civilians, and so over $750,000 going to our community. It's a big contribution from both the military and the civilians at the base. Without them, we just couldn't maintain the programs we have.
They're engaged with us at all levels. The base commander sits on our board of directors, and one of their senior civilian staff sits on our cabinet for our community campaign. They are our biggest campaign, worksite campaign.
we got the Hanger Boys from our local 443.
We're part of the Government of Canada Charitable Workplace campaign, so we'll do the whole campaign here at the squadron. We'll have a couple of other events coming up throughout the campaign period, probably a beard growing contest, and we'll be doing the canvassing of individuals through the workplace as well.
They're so creative, as you can imagine. They have a unique workforce. Their workforce is out on many ships, and so they could be thousands and thousands of miles away from us, and but they still run their campaign, and so they have this wonderful machine that goes out and encourages giving, talks to their people, both civilian and military, about what gets done with United Way money. They have fun events, they have paintball events, and all sorts of events that raise awareness of what the issues are in this region and how people can contribute and give to that need and help this community be stronger. So they're just enthusiastic and creative.
I think it's a real indication of how strongly the defense team feels about being part of this community and wanting to make a difference. And so we find it to be that people are really keen to support groups like the United Way or the blood donor clinics and other organizations so that we can help out in the community where we work, live, and play.
I tried to get the number of retired people that are in our community from the Navy, and I couldn't get it. But I can tell you as the chamber guy, there's lots of people out there that I'm doing business with that are ex-Navy, including me. We have 9 retired Commodores, 9 retired Rear Admirals, 6 retired Vice Admirals, and 1 retired Admiral, all living in Victoria. Most of those are contributing massively to our economy, running things like tall ships, laying out the Venus-Neptune project for the University of Victoria. Those are all great and important things, and those kinds of skills that the military brings to our economy are tremendous.
Because we're a national organization, a lot of our folks come from all over Canada, including from Quebec and other parts of the country where French is their first language. And so we have a real diverse cultural group here that contributes also to the community.
I think the most important social impact we have in the Navy is really when it comes to volunteering in many organizations, and probably none so important as kids sport. I think when you go and you look at all of the hockey teams that we have in the area, and the soccer teams and the baseball teams, there are military families and coaches all throughout that system, and they provide just such a support. The military folks in our region are families. They come with children, and they are in that consuming portion of their lives. They're the maximum economic impact, and they provide the most socially to our region, and I think we're truly blessed to have that fabric in our community.
I can't imagine this community without that resource. It's I think just such a structurally, when you see ships coming in and out, and you see the base, and you see people in uniform throughout this community, I just think they wouldn't be Victoria, I don't think, without the military, without D&D.
Victorians can be grateful for the impact of the military on their community, and we are all thankful for the Navy's operational role that keeps our country safe and secure.
Victoria is a fantastic place to work and live, and it allows us to do our primary function, which is the defense of Canada. And certainly having our ships out and doing that job is important. And we get involved in a lot of different activity, whether it's intercepting migrant vessels, making sure that our sea lines of communication are open between Canadian ports and the rest of the world. And then of course we have a huge international piece that we play as well. We have ships that routinely work as part of a larger task group down south doing counter-drug operations. And so it's a very busy place, and our folks are doing a lot of good things on behalf of Canadians.
What is the impact of the military on Victoria? It is considerable. Victoria would be a very different place if it were not for the delightful presence of the Canadian Navy in all aspects of local life.